Folks, welcome into another episode of SportsbookReview.com's Roundtable. Today, we're going to talk a little bit of Major League Baseball. We're going to specify one conference that's going to be ready for play. That's the AL Championship Futures. Look, we're probably still at least a month off from Major League Baseball, but the numbers are out there. We are cappers. We are going to break these down. This is my Roundtable panel today. Greg Farrar, Teddy Sabransky, and Ian Cameron. We're going to start with you first right away, Greg. Taking a look at the AL, a lot to go over. We saw the offseason turmoil with the Houston Astros, but they're still going to field a pretty good baseball team. The favorite in the AL currently right now is those New York Yankees. But before we get into dipping into some exact specifics on pricing, Greg, what's your thoughts on the AL heading into the 2020 season here?
Yeah, I mean, we can tell that baseball does not have a salary cap. This conference is front loaded. You know, the Yankees adding Garrett Cole to an already magnificent lineup is going to be very tough to top. You know, last year they were about 14th in the majors in ERA. Cole should definitely improve that there. And then we go down to the Astros, who I personally do not think they're going to have the drop-off that some people expect. I kind of think that some of this sign stealing has been overblown as far as, I mean, obviously they were doing it, but how much did it really help them? We're going to find out. But I have a feeling that these guys are good major league hitters. The offense is still going to rake. So I do definitely like both top teams. One thing I'm going to look for when coming to the Astros is going to be the development of Josh James. He's a young pitcher. They're going to try and shoehorn him in the rotation. Obviously, not going to be able to replace Garrett Cole, but if he can come in, get effective innings, and be a nice four starter and not get relegated to the bullpen, I kind of like the Astros' chances to win the AL West and then go ahead and give the Yankees a real run for their money there in the playoffs.
Teddy, we've done a lot of videos together, and sometimes we're talking about the have and the have-nots there in the American League. Still to be the case, but we do see a falling off maybe in the AL East, obviously with the Boston Red Sox losing some talent pitching-wise and also in the field. But taking a look at the AL as a whole here, we took a look at the Central, which probably is really up for grabs when you have the two clear favorites, obviously out of the East and the West here in the AL, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, this is unquestionably a top-heavy league where the Yankees and the Astros deserve to be the favorites. They're both loaded. All that said, if you want to make money betting futures, you're not betting the chalk. You're looking for live long shots that have a chance to make some noise in September into October. And when you're getting those teams 20-1, 30-1, 40-1 early in the season, you have a chance to hedge and lock in a profit as soon as they make the postseason. And I've got four teams in that regard that I'm looking at. Again, I don't think any of these teams are better than the Yankees or the Astros on paper, but Tampa Bay is pretty good. Oakland's pretty good. I'm real interested in the Chicago White Sox, and the LA Angels are a team that have a lot of pieces in place to make some noise. So those are the four teams from a value standpoint I've got my eye on in the American League, even though I don't expect any of them to win it. The Yankees and the Astros deserve to be chalk, but when we're talking 20, 30, 40-1, now you start to get me interested.
Ian, when we take a look at the Major League Baseball season coming up, because we're all handicappers, we're all excited for the start of Major League Baseball season. Right now, sitting here at the end of March, we should have already been a couple games in and enjoying it, but obviously that's not the case. So getting a full 162 in probably is not going to work out, but there's still a lot of margin for error that you can use and say, hey, you know what? Maybe some of these teams are worth taking a shot at, but just your early look at the AL and how they stack up here, Ian.
Yeah, the Rays and the Angels are my teams from a value standpoint that I look at. I mean, I think there's a very good chance, you guys, that Tampa Bay can be better than Boston this year. I think Boston could be that third-place team. They could fall down that big when you look at it. And I know this Rays team is a team that basically has not got the big superstar talent. They're not in the big market. But you look at their lineup. They were getting good at bats. They were working counts. They were finding ways to get on base. I liked what I saw from the Rays from that standpoint. I think Tyler Glasnow is a pitcher that will step forward this year, be better. Blake Snell, we know he had a bit of a regression last year, but let's not forget he was dominant 2 years ago, can step back up, be strong again, lead that Rays rotation, a solid enough, competent enough bullpen, a manager in Kevin Cash that's gotten the most out of that team. I do like what I'm seeing from the Rays. The LA Angels, I'm not sure I love the Joe Madden hire, the way it ended in Chicago with the Cubs, but nevertheless, the offense is better. They get Rendon, a World Series champion with the Washington Nationals, an improved lineup, an improved rotation. And one of these years, guys, Mike Trout's finally got to get into the postseason. I mean, you're talking about the best player in Major League Baseball. Doesn't he at some point got to get into the playoffs? I'm not saying the Angels will, but from a over the total, from their win total standpoint, and maybe a shot to win the AL, long shot to win the AL and the World Series as well, I'd look at Tampa Bay. I'd look at the LA Angels.
No, I like where you're going there, Ian, especially with the Angels. Look, because I'm a team total over type player. Boy, it's nice to finally get some protection there from Mike Trout with Anthony Rendon coming over. And being a Philadelphia Phillies fan, always nice when we steal some of those players out of the world champions to put them in another league. I like it. Greg, I'm going to come back to you. When I look at overall, like the Yankees, obviously the favorite, the Astros coming in, in that second place range, Twins, Rays, Athletics. There's a lot of teams. I'm still fascinated by the Astros here because I think a lot of people they had the cheating scandal go down. They lose Garrett Cole going over to the New York Yankees, what's the best way to go knock down a really good baseball team? Take their best player and put him on yours. That should help the New York Yankees. But looking overall still with the starting 9 for the Astros here, Greg, Brantley, Springer, Reddick, Gurriel, Altuve, Correa, Bregman, there is a lot of talent left on that team. And I see him sitting there with a price range anywhere between plus 350 to maybe plus 400 to win the AL. I think some people are still overlooking him, even with the cheating scandal coming down and losing Garrett Cole. They're still formidable. What team for you in the AL that you look at outside of the Yankees says, you know what, this team is really good. I expect them to compete and possibly take down an AL pennant.
Yeah, and the Astros are a great look here. And one interesting thing will be with everything going on in the world today that is so much more serious than baseball and stealing signs, will the vitriol that the fans and the opposing teams had for the Astros kind of die down as we've kind of gone through this together and hopefully come through even stronger. So that'll be interesting to look at. Zack Greinke didn't play his best last year. He's obviously going to have to step up in order for this team to make a run. And I mentioned Josh James earlier. I'm really excited about him as a prospect. I do like the Astros a lot at plus 400. I think there's a tad bit of value. And I'm going to go a little bit against Ian's idea. And the team that I was looking at plus 1900 right now is the Boston Red Sox. Now, everybody wrote the Red Sox off when they traded Mookie Betts. But I think the idea here is in this new baseball with the extra playoff games, the regular season, let's be honest, has been a tad bit devalued. Now, losing Mookie Betts is going to hurt a lot in the regular season, but this is a team that still has a lot of talent, and if they can go ahead and get hot right towards the end of the season, make some shrewd in-season acquisitions, I still think the Red Sox can be players, and I think because of that trade, people are writing them off, and I think there's a little bit of value there at plus 1900.
Teddy, he brings up a great point there, Greg. Thank you for bringing that up because we used to look at like 1 and 1A in the AL East with the actual, the Red Sox and the Yankees being 1 and 2. Now they're dipping down, and us as gamblers talk about where that value comes in, where maybe they can be a player. Outside of, again, the Astros being the top team, maybe to take down the Yankees. Teddy, who's going to get it done for you that still has that legitimate shot? We'll talk long shots in just a few moments here, but who do you think's got that legitimate shot to go in and say, you know what, we can beat the Yankees in a 4-game series. We can beat the Astros in a 4-game series. Who does that for you, Teddy?
I mean, Tampa Bay obviously stands out because they did it last year. Okay. And it's a young core that is basically returning almost intact. A couple of losses, but the losses for Tampa Bay are losses that are replaceable. And I know Tommy fans a big loss, but look what they have in the system. Tampa has the best farm one. You're talking about what's going to happen this year. You make a great point in terms of it's not one of these marathon seasons. We're not going to see a 162-day season. We're going to see some team get hot down the stretch and have a chance to win it all. And Tampa could well be that team. I certainly wouldn't sell them short. The White Sox are another team that has intriguing young talent. And I'm definitely interested in intriguing young talent this year. I don't know the veterans are going to keep themselves in proper game shape. I'm confident the young guys are going to come to play and be ready to go from day one of the season. So a team like the White Sox, to me, or Tampa, stands out in that regard.
I like it, Teddy. We'll save those White Sox here for just a few moments. Ian, I'm going to bring you in again. Our Canadian influence here, Major League Baseball. Toronto looks to maybe taking a step back here, but the AL East outside of the New York Yankees can certainly be had. I know Toronto's probably a little bit of way off. Ian, what's one of those teams for you, or maybe an inside angle if we take a look at even the Twins possibly having a good season in the Central out there, the Athletics, the Indians, some of those teams are bunched up. Who has a shot to legitimately come from behind there and say, you know what, we could take down the Astros, we can take down the Yankees here, Ian?
It could be Minnesota. Teddy's talked about Tampa Bay. I would agree with that. But Minnesota is another team. I think the key for them is going to be Jake Odorizzi. You get Kenta Maeda from the LA Dodgers. Jose Barrios, who's a guy that, was up and down last year. Let's call it for what it was. It was not a great season for Jose Barrios last year. But I think now another year with more experience, I think he's got a bounce back type of season in him. You bring in Homer Bailey. We'll end up seeing how he does for the Minnesota Twins this year for them. The lineup is obviously what's going to carry the Minnesota Twins this year. It's a tremendous offense. The bullpen, Sergio Romo, Trevor May, Tyler Duffy, Clippard, not a huge turnover from them. I've got question marks about the Indians. I agree with Teddy in that the White Sox will be improved. I don't think they're ready to win the division. But who can threaten the Yankees? Who can threaten the Astros? Twins could, in my opinion, because of the offense. I think I'll have a little bit more faith in their starting rotation than last year, and certainly the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's not forget, Tampa Bay pushed Houston to the brink last year in the postseason. They gave them everything they could handle in that playoff series. I think they're going to be dangerous again this year. Quick take on my Blue Jays, or not my Blue Jays, but they're in the area. I don't know. They're probably not making the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they won't. But I think over their win total might be worth a look. You get Hyunjin Ryu from the LA Dodgers, Tanner Roark. They finally got major league pitching. Okay, they didn't have major league pitching at all last year, the Toronto Blue Jays. They had a brutal staff. It was awful to see. The pitching was bad. The lineup should be better. You got the big cornerstone players like Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, all there for a full season. Blue Jays, not so much futures, but value game-to-game betting over their win total. I think those are ways you could look at Toronto this year.
No, I agree with you, Ian. And Teddy, and both yourself bring up some really good points because we're going to have an abbreviated season some way. So when you take a look at the Rays, who always think outside the box and lean on that bullpen, where maybe your starters who you say, hey, you know what, we used to have that full spring training. Maybe we don't get that. And then you head into the season where instead of your pitchers that you lean on, the Chris Sale type guys, who obviously is not going to pitch this year, but they are like, 5, 6, 7 inning guys. Now you might need to lean on that bullpen even more. I'm going to get back to you right here, Greg, and take a look at some of these outside opinions that may be able to creep up. Teddy brought up my White Sox, those Southsiders, guaranteed rate field, used to playing in front of 200 to 300 people. They are stocked with talent. And if we're taking a look right now, odds anywhere between plus 1,400 to plus 1,600 to take down the AL. I love this baseball team. You got Jimenez, Mazzara, Garcia, Abreu, Encarnacion comes over as your DH now. A good young pitching staff that can certainly dominate. I like the White Sox as an outside team. Give me some teams that you might be looking forward to that you could take that valued approach and say, you know what, anywhere between, plus 1,000 to plus 2,000 in that range that we can sink our teeth into here.
Yeah, I think the White Sox are an interesting look when you contrast it to the fact that the leaders of the division for the last couple of years, the Indians, are kind of in a weird situation right now. They traded Corey Kluber, makes sense given his bit of a decline, and now there's kind of trade rumors swirling around Lindor. How is that going to affect the team? Obviously, this is not a normal offseason, so to say, but it's really weird. It's a team that doesn't seem like it knows which direction doesn't want to go. Is it going to contend? Are they going to rebuild? And I think with those questions swirling around, you guys hit it right on the head. Now there's an opportunity for some of these teams with better value, such as the White Sox I'm seeing here at plus 1,900 to go ahead and make that leap there. So I'm not a big believer in the Indians, even though I love their young, talented base. But, I mean, are they going to be there for the year? Where is the direction of the franchise going? Then you look at a team like the White Sox. It does seem like they've assembled some young talent and just wants to move forward with the players that they have. I do like the White Sox at plus 1,900 as well.
Teddy, coming live from Las Vegas. We talk about rolling the dice and getting those odds and taking a long shot. Major League Baseball in the AL, Teddy. Who can come out of that pack and cash a decent-sized ticket for us this year?
Let's talk the Oakland A's right here, because if you want to talk about one team that's being completely overlooked, Oakland won 97 games last year. They won 97 games the year before. Okay? They're there. The starting staff is loaded, and they're all young. Manea, Montes, Puck, Luzardo, all young guys with enormous upside. I don't know that I want Fiers as my ace. That's my biggest concern with Oakland. But if they're there, a team with a deep bullpen, a team with a lot of positional talent, a team with an underrated defensive capability. Again, we talk everything pitching, offense. Who plays defense? In terms of runs saved, A's near the top of the list. I think Oakland offers some value. You can find them, in the 15-1 range. if you shop around, and I think they're live, given how good they've been, the pitching they have, and the fact they do have postseason experience. Maybe Oakland makes a run.
Yeah, 9 teams look like they have some decent shots here, considering on the odds. Obviously, teams like the Rangers, Blue Jays, Orioles, Tigers, Royals, and Mariners might not get in there. But what's a team for you that you have your eye on? Because, we could take a look at, team total overs during the game, team total overs for the season itself. But give me a team that might have a legitimate shot to say, you know what, I can see this team getting hot and taking down a nice price in an AL championship here.
Yeah, we know the Yankees and the Astros are the teams to beat, but again, those aren't the teams you want to be betting from a future standpoint to win AL pennants and to win the World Series. I'm going to stick with the 2 teams I mentioned, the Rays and the Angels. I think they're the 2 teams that have the most value in my mind going into this, and I've mentioned how I like the Rays overall, just an overall team. They've got all the components that are pretty solid. The Angels have a better offense, better lineup this year, and they've just made a lot of improvements. And the bullpen's the one question mark, I think, with the Angels. But I like that finally, as you mentioned, Donnie, Mike Trout's finally got someone hitting behind him that is going to be able to, get a 2-3 run home run with guys on base now. With Trout on base, you got someone in Rendon that's going to be able to bring him home now in terms of quality at bats at the plate. In terms of Teddy's point about Oakland, I'm a little bit more down on Oakland coming into this season. I think their offense is going to be a little bit of a drop off, and I think their rotation. I've had some bad experiences with Manaea and Montas. It's like I've bet them when they've stunk, and then I go against them when they're good. That's been the kind of issues I've had with Oakland the last couple of seasons. And for Mike Fiers, he's the big X factor. He can't be Mike Dumpster Fires. He can't be Mike Tire Fires. He's got to be the legitimate ace of this rotation. He's got to have a big season, I think, for Oakland to be a competitive team.
There's a lot to go over here with the AL Championship futures. For all Major League Baseball and everything concluded, always check out sportsbookreview.com for today's sportsbookreview.com roundtable. For Greg, Teddy, Ian, I'm Donnie. Thanks for tuning in. A lot more talk on Major League Baseball is right around the corner. Have a good day.